Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So recently, payment for order flow has been on the tongue of a lot of investors and particularly retail investors with the rise of the Robinhood IPO. We heard the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, say he's looking to ban payment for order flow. But what exactly is it? Because this is not really a new practice and has been going on for quite a while now. So let's take a step back. If you were to look before the entry of all these zero commission trading platforms, your typical trading platform would charge a fee to carry out a trade. So if you wanted to buy some Tesla stock or some Microsoft or Apple, you'd have to go to the exchange. Your broker would do this for you. Go to the exchange and buy from the exchange, the NASDAQ, the S&P, and they would charge you a fee to cover any fees plus a profit that they would have to pay at the exchanges. Now, with the onset of these zero commission trading platforms, what we're seeing is something called payment for order flow. And what this is a bit of a wholesale model. So what I'm going to try to do is explain this to you because there's a lot of misconceptions around how it works, what exactly it means. I'm going to try to explain to you some of the pros, some of the cons, and just some of the high level theoretical understanding of it without getting into the technicalities. So in essence, what you can see is on your left-hand side, you have a buyer who wants to buy from the market. And what you can see is the national best offer. So if he wants to buy, he will have to buy at $100, his favorite stock. Now for a seller coming onto the market, their national bid is $99. So they will get $99 for their stock. The difference of the $1 is what you call your typical spread. Okay, and everybody's used to this and understands this principle. Now, what happens with a wholesale market seller is these are called, and often they're called venues, your likes of Citadel, Susquehannas, and various others. They act as market makers. And the reason they're called market makers is they try to provide liquidity. Because if today you want to go sell 100 Tesla shares at exactly $100, what's the chance somebody's going to fill you on the other side with the exact quantity and pricing that you're happy with? It's very difficult, right? That's what you call liquidity. So the market makers, they want to take some of this risk away. So what they do is they say, we'll buy, and any bids that come in, they say, we buy. And for any of the people that want to, any of the people want to buy it, they'll say, we sell. So they make the market and they try to then offset everything. So if you want to buy 100 Tesla now, I will say, yep, as a market maker, I will say, yep, I'll sell you 100, and then I hope I can buy 100 at a similar price very shortly. And you just constantly play this game of making sure you have zero. So let's say you buy 100 Tesla off me right now, so I sell you 100, and then somebody else wants to sell 80, and then minus 20, etc., etc. I just want to keep that risk minimized, but I'm taking on the risk as the market maker. And the idea behind this payment for order flow is Robinhood. Let's use them as an example because everybody knows them. A retail trader goes onto Robinhood and says, I want to buy 100 shares of Tesla. Now, Robinhood, instead of going to the NASDAQ or any of these platforms, they're routing these orders to the market makers, the venues like Citadel or Susquehanna. Now, at these venues, they're saying we can provide the best pricing for the retail customers. So what do they mean by this? What they're saying is if the traditional spread is $1, which you can see here, the difference between the 99 and the 100, they're saying we'll give the buyers a buy price of 99.75. So we'll give them a better price than they were going to get because they had to buy 100 on the market if they go straight to the NASDAQ or the S&P. And a seller who would normally get $99 will help them sell at 99.25. So your buyer's happy, your seller's happy because they've both bumped up by 0.25. They're getting a better bid and ask. And the spread, the 0.5, is then what your market maker takes away as their profit for taking the risk because they're taking on their balance sheet the risk of those shares when they're buying from you. Okay, so this is what you call the spread that the market taker's taking. Now, the payment for order flow is this. So if you add up all these 0.5s that the venues are making, Citadel, Susquehanna, these companies are making, the market makers, they then use some of their profits to pay for the routing of the order flow from the likes of Robinhood or WeBull, E-Trade, Schwab, etc. Because they're all doing this routing. Okay, so now comes the question, which is theoretically it's a great thing, right? And a lot of people who are pro payment for order flow, and no doubt Robinhood will be making this argument to the SEC, will say, hang on a second, we're giving better pricing for our retail customers. So if a retail has to buy 100 on the exchange plus a trading fee, which we'd have to give them, here they don't have to pay a trading fee, and they're buying at 99.75, so they're saving 25 cents, and the seller's gaining 25 cents. So this is better for retail clients. That's their argument. Now, the opposing counsel will say, hang on a second, that's not quite accurate, is it? How do we know you are routing the orders to the market makers based on the pricing they're giving the end retail customers? Okay, so if you take Robinhood, the order comes in from the retail customer. Robinhood can either route to Citadel or they can route to somebody else, like a Susquehanna. How would they pick which one to do? So they will argue we do it based on whichever one gives the retail customer best pricing. But surely there may be an element that they do so based on who gives them the highest fee for their payment for order flow. So if Citadel are paying them much more for routing the orders through them, there's no check or balance to say, okay, why are you sending it to Citadel even though they're giving the retail client a weaker amount? So these things are all really important when understanding payment for order flow, because the mechanism in itself is a sensible mechanism. The market maker is taking risk, they're creating liquidity, they're buying shares and they're selling shares at their own risk, and they're profiting from the spread, which in itself can seem ethical. The challenge is, are they executing at the best price for the customers, or are they, if we come back to this diagram, let's show this diagram again, or are they maximizing this spread, minimizing this bit that the buyer and seller gets, and then giving more of this 50-cent profit to Robinhood? And that's the question. Should this diagram really be 90 cents in the middle, 5 cents to the right, 5 cents to the left, and that 90 cents they keep in their pocket and they go, oh, thanks Robinhood, here's 45 of that 90 cents. That's what we need to understand. That's where we need some more transparency. And the SEC Rule 605 now requires that market makers publish their execution stats every month. And apparently, looking at the data, it shows that wholesaling saves customers 3.57 billion of improvements in pricing in 2020 alone. Sounds great as a headline, right? But again, where do these lines sit? If that's 3.5 billion, what are the amounts that sit in between here? And we can look at what the different levels of payment for order flow are. We can take a look. Let's have a look here. And by the way, these are the kind of companies you're talking about. That will give, let's go have a look at some of these venues. These are the kind of companies that will market make for you. You've got Citadel, Citigroup, Dash, you've got Two Sigma, very popular one, UBS, Virtue, Susquehanna in here as well, BATS, Apex Clearing. So these are all the popular ones you hear, and these are some of the brokerages that we know are doing this. So Charles Schwab, E-Trade, Robinhood, TD Ameritrade. And if we look at the payment for order flow, let's take a look here. This is what we want to look at, payment per order flow per venue. So we can see Citadel are leading the pack here with 1 billion in 2020 of payment for order flow. Okay, so that's how much. And we can see, if we go slightly up, we can see how much the brokerages are using payment for order flow. So in 2020, 2.6 billion were paid to the 7 leading retail brokerages, Robinhood. So there we go. So you can see the headline figure in 2020 of we saved 3.57 billion for retail customers, 2.6 billion was sent just in payment for order flow fees to the brokerages. So we can only imagine what the venues are making from this. So if we come back down here, and this is a really good, you can see, the kind of growth in the amount of payment for order flow they're doing. Robinhood is growing, E-Trade is growing, Charles Schwab is fluctuating, WeBull is the fastest grower in payment for order flow, interestingly. And then we can see, so looking at the payment for order flow per venue, statistics paints a clear picture of the market leaders. Citadel, Global Execution Brokers, and Virtue Americas dominate from the venue side with about 71% of overall business. Okay, so we can easily see there, that's the leading pack. 1 billion from Citadel, about 500 million from Global Execution, Virtue 300 million, and then we see the rest, Two Sigma there, etc. So we can see, and this is the dilemma with payment for order flow, because you're getting those on the one side who can argue this is great, we're giving better pricing, but then the other side is saying, hang on a second, there's a conflict of interest here, and this is what Gary Gensler is saying, there's a conflict of interest which isn't appropriate for the year 2021. And so this is what we'll need to get to the bottom of, is, by theoretically it's good for customers. Is that what we're actually seeing? Is the majority of that? Maybe they should have to disclose how much of the spread improvement is going to customers and how much is lining their pockets. And more importantly, what is Robinhood's incentive to ensure best pricing for its customers as opposed to extra revenue for their payment for order flow? Because we know it makes up 80% of their revenue. So there you go, guys. A quick dive into payment for order flow. Hopefully that makes that a bit more clearer for those of you who are unfamiliar with the terms. Obviously, we can get into much more technicalities around maker and taker fees and understanding the technicalities around payment for order flow a little bit better. But conceptually, that's the concept. It's routing orders to a market maker as opposed to going directly to the exchange. It's supposed to give buyers and sellers better pricing, and a little bit more in between the market keeper keeps as their profit. And they pay the brokers, Robinhood, WeBull, Charles Schwab, Interactive Brokers, for that order, because they want that order to go to them as opposed to directly going to the NASDAQ or going to S&P. And if it went straight to the exchanges, the New York Stock Exchange, or the London Stock Exchange, there would have to be a fee. So that's how Robinhood then justifies, we're offering zero commission trading, but we have to do the payment for order flow. Hopefully that clears that up. If you want a deeper dive into this, please comment below and we can spend some more time discussing this. But I thought this would be appropriate for those who have invested in Robinhood or have started Googling, because Google searches have gone up for how does Robinhood make money. Hopefully this clarifies this for everybody. We'll see you in the next one.